Hi everybody, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum on McCollum Wellness Radio, and this is Saturday, 3 o'clock, and I'm so happy to be here, and I really appreciate KSCO for making a platform where people can come talk about things that are important to them. And right now, one of the most important things for me is your health. And of course, with all of this stuff going on in our environment, in the world today, the stress levels are incredibly high, and nothing affects the thyroid gland more than stress. And there are three types of stresses that really affect our thyroid gland. And number one, of course, is physical stress. In other words, if you've had a trauma, a whiplash, some kind of injury to your neck, even 20, 30, 40 years ago that didn't get corrected the right way, you can have a breakdown in communication between the brain and the body, and that is the thyroid gland's connection through the lower part of the cervical spine, and that can make a big difference on thyroid function. The second kind of stress is biochemical stress, and these chemicals can get in there and block your thyroid gland's function. It can affect your liver's ability to convert thyroid hormone to something usable, and it can actually make you sick. It can cause the cells to be inflamed. When you have cellular inflammation, as we'll go into a little later, nothing works well. The third type of stress is, of course, mental and spiritual, and I think that we can all agree that we've had quite a bit of stress these days on the mental and potentially the spiritual level. So what happens when you're under a huge amount of stress, mentally or spiritually, is your adrenal glands go crazy. They produce this thing called cortisol, which is a stress hormone. And this directly affects your thyroid function. And I'll go into how that works in just a minute. But, basically, how do you know if you have thyroid problems? There's basically 30 million Americans have been diagnosed with some kind of thyroid problem. That means that how many of them have not been diagnosed at all because they don't want to go to the doctor, or the doctor missed the symptoms, and they don't even know that they have it, but they feel terrible. And so that's some of the information that I want to go over today, is how to find out if you are one of those people, if thyroid is affecting your health, your well-being, your happiness, your weight, your immune system, which is so important right now. So 15 million Americans are being affected by something called Hashimoto's disease. Hashimoto's is an autoimmune thyroid disease. What does autoimmune mean? It means your body's fighting itself. So for some reason, your body's attacking its own thyroid gland, and almost half of the diagnosed thyroid conditions are Hashimoto's. So if we can show you ways to potentially turn that around yourself, or maybe talk to your medical doctor about it, then this will be helpful for you. And our whole goal is to help you become healthier and give you the power to go ask the right questions and see what you can do to be healthy. So again, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, McCollum Wellness Radio, KSCO, every Saturday at 3 o'clock. And you can go to ksco.com, 1080 AM, 104.1 FM on your radio dial. So how do you know if you have a thyroid problem? Well, there's a lot of different symptoms that are associated with thyroid, and you may not even put them together as being something that is potentially a thyroid condition for you. So I'm going to just name a few of them. Lack of energy is one of the main reasons people might suspect a thyroid problem. Weight gain or inability to lose weight. Feeling cold all the time. Your metabolism is driven by your thyroid gland. Irritability. Constantly don't feel yourself, having trouble with your environment, people in your environment, maybe family members, work, people that you really do love and you just can't seem to get along with them. Forgetfulness, or we call it brain fog. If you're having brain fog, you go to the other end of the room and can't remember why you went there, or turn your computer on because you wanted to check something out and you forget why you got there. That's brain fog. That can be a sign of thyroid dysfunction. Insatiable appetite. In other words, you eat and eat and eat and eat, and you just can't ever get full. This is another one of the signs of potentially that you might be having thyroid problem. We're going to go over the 3 major causes or types of thyroid issues. And then I have a workshop coming up next Wednesday night. And that workshop is going to be free. It's going to be a Zoom meeting that you can subscribe to, and you can get in while we have enough seats available and look to see if this is something you want to do. I'm going to go over a whole bunch of information today, and I want you to go ahead and email your questions to info@mccollumwellness.com if you're going to decide to go to the Zoom meeting. And you can get to the Zoom meeting simply by dialing 474747 on your cell phone and put in the subject line thyroid, and that will take you to my website, mccollumwellness.com, where you can sign up for the workshop. I hope you do. It's free. Tell your friends. Let's see what we can do to help people become healthier. One of the things with a weakened thyroid gland is a weakened immune system. And right now, we need our immune systems to be working as close to 100% as possible. So thinning hair, if you've lost your hair is thinning and it just seems to be falling out and you can't do anything about it, nobody has any answers, that could be a sign of thyroid dysfunction as well. Racing heartbeat or heart palpitations. Sometimes you feel your heart rushing on you, then this is a good sign that potentially you are having a thyroid issue. Now you definitely want to check with your medical doctor if you're suspecting some kind of heart problem. Depression is another symptom related to thyroid issues. So if you've got anxiety or depression, along with some of these other things I'm mentioning, it may not be that you're depressed. It might be that the chemicals or the chemistry in your body is not working correctly. Now you can throw a bunch of medication at it to try to make sure that the serotonin doesn't leave the synapses, but eventually that's going to cause more problems, and the medication you're taking is going to stop working, and it's not really addressing the cause of the problem if your problem is something to do with thyroid function. So I really wanted to get this word out to you. I want you to join my workshop, and something's going to make sense to you here, and there might be something that you can do for yourself to help you. I'd like you to be armed when you go in to see your medical doctor. I want you to have information and questions to ask them. And I'll go into some of the standard tests that the medical doctors do. They say your thyroid hormone or your TSH is normal, and they say that's fine, but you still feel bad. Or it's not normal. They give you something to make it normal. They go, hey, it's normal, and you still feel bad. Well, what's with that? What else can you do? That's what we want to talk about. Fluid retention, another sign of thyroid dysfunction, is that you just are withholding fluid. You're retaining fluid, and you feel bloated all the time. Another important thing that you want to do to see whether or not your thyroid could be part of the problem. Bring them on camera. What are you saying, Sheila? Also bloating. So if you bloat after meals, meaning every time you eat something you actually start to bloat, this is another really good sign or symptom that your thyroid function isn't working, because your thyroid and your digestion are so important. One thing that converts something called T4 into T3, and I'll go into that in a little bit, is your liver and your digestive system or your GI tract. So if you're bloating, that's a sign that you have inflammation in your large intestine, small intestine, and your body can't convert the inactive form of thyroid to the active one if your liver is congested and if your gut is inflamed. So that's another one of the symptoms that you want to look for. Dry skin. Dry skin is another sign that your body isn't producing all the hormones that you need to produce, and that could be another sign of the thyroid. Very light or very heavy menstrual cycles. Another thing, estrogen, insulin, and thyroid hormone all kind of work in concert together. So we want to make sure that your estrogen is doing well. We want to make sure, and it's at the right levels. We want to make sure that all your female hormones are, or testosterone and female hormones if you're a man, that your insulin is able to get into the cells, and so that the thyroid can communicate correctly. Now we'll talk about the problem at a cellular level in a little bit. It's called cellular inflammation and an inability of hormones to act on the cell, which is the only live part of your body. everything that our body does is designed to do something to the live cells. And if it can, we're good. If it can't, we got a problem. So we'll talk about that a little bit more later. Achy joints, constantly joints are inflamed, or you wake up in the morning and you're achy. Another potential sign of a thyroid issue. And of course, the last one would be constipation. It's not the last, but another one I'm going to mention is just sluggish digestion. Again, if your digestive tract isn't working well, there's an underlying cause, and we call it an upstream cause, that could be affecting your digestion system. And since hormones are utilized and thyroid hormone is converted in your large intestine, then it's important that we fix the gut if we're going to fix your thyroid issue. So those are some of the things that we're looking at. You want to take a look at, there's 3 different problems that can occur with the thyroid gland. So those 3 are very important to look at. And number 1 is an inability of your body to convert T4 to T3. Now T4, what happens, if you can see the diagram here, if you're listening to me on the radio, this will be posted on Dr. Duncan McCullum YouTube, and you can look at it there, rewatch it there. You can direct people to Dr. Duncan McCullum, my YouTube channel. I have over 170 videos on there that you can watch that are really going to help you understand how to fix your gut. A lot of the stuff I'm going to talk about today, I've already done videos on, and you can find them on YouTube. But basically, your brain is going to listen to what's going on in your body, and it's going to get signals on whether or not you have enough active thyroid hormone in your body. Active thyroid is T3. If you don't, the brain is going to send something, and there's a gland in your brain called the pituitary gland that's going to send thyroid stimulating hormone to your thyroid gland to produce something called T4. Now, if you go to the medical doctor, they take a blood test and they look at pretty much just thyroid stimulating hormone, TSH. And if it's normal, they go, well, your thyroid's working fine, and it must be in your head or whatever. They give you something that may or may not address your condition. Are they asking you about diet? Are they asking you about foods or that you're putting in your diet that might cause inflammation at a cellular level, that may down-regulate the thyroid gland, meaning foods that are bad for the thyroid gland, things that could be more toxic to your body and toxic to your cells and toxic to your thyroid gland. We'll go into that a little bit more as we go along here. But so the brain is going to regulate thyroid stimulating hormone to tell the thyroid gland to put out T4. Now, T4 is not an active form of thyroid. It's kind of crazy. Your body has T4, but it can't use it. The cells can't use it. So what has to happen is that T4 has to find its way to your liver, where it's converted to something called T3 that can act on your cells. These are the cells here on this diagram. If you can imagine a cell, if you're listening to the radio, it has a bunch of little antennas on it, and T3 hormone can only attach to a T3 antenna. Estrogen can only attach to an estrogen antenna. Insulin can only attach to an insulin antenna. So they're very specific antennae or receptor sites on your cells. So if your brain perceives that you don't have enough thyroid hormone, it's going to produce something called TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, that's going to go to the thyroid and have it produce T4. That's only half the battle. T4 has to get to the liver or the digestive system, the gut, to be converted into T3. So that's all well and fine. Now, if your body's not converting it to T3, you can take all of the medication that your doctor gives you, but you're still not going to feel well because your body can't take the inactive T4 and convert it to T3. So what does the liver need to do, or the gut need to do, to convert the inactive T4 that comes from your thyroid gland or the medication you're taking to T3? Well, first of all, it's got to be healthy. Your liver can't be congested. It can't be full of toxins. Your gut can't have so many chemicals in it from the food you're eating that it's inflamed and unable to function correctly. So one of the first causes of thyroid dysfunction is that your liver is toxic or it's plugged up. It's like if you had a vacuum and you kept vacuuming and you never cleaned the filter, you could vacuum forever, but all you're doing is stirring up the dust. You're not sucking it up because the filter is plugged. Another one is like the filter in your air ventilation system in your house. If you don't change that every year, it's black with bad stuff in there, and that is going to stop your air ventilation system from working. And in fact, another thing that it does is it causes the air system to heat up, and it could eventually blow up because it's going to get so hot. So just like your body, if your liver's plugged because of toxins, because of all the medication you took as a kid, medications you're taking now, maybe you've been on, you've had so much stress in your life that it's just destroyed the liver function, that maybe you have been exposed to heavy metal toxicity that's stopping the liver from functioning well. All these things can be reasons that this isn't working well. So what I'm going to do is we're going to take a short break here. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and this is McCollum Wellness Radio. We're here every Saturday at 3 o'clock. This is a talk on thyroid function. We will be doing a Zoom meeting this Wednesday at 7 o'clock, and you can join the meeting while we still have space available. Go to mccollumwellness.com to sign up for the Zoom meeting, or you can text thyroid to the number 474747. So type 474747 in your cell phone, and in the comment bar write thyroid, hit send. You will be given information to sign up for the Zoom meeting, and I hope that you show up. So we'll be right back. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum. We'll see you in a minute. Okay, so we're back, and that was a commercial break for those of you listening now. And what I was talking about is our TRT stem cell machine that we have a $49 special on at the office. If you're interested in finding out how this machine can help your body, then you should call 831-459-9990. There's less than 150 in the country. I have one. There's less than 600 in the world. I have number 403. So if you want to experience the 403, call my office and let's see what the stem cell machine, coined by the television show The Doctors, can do for you. Okay, we're back. And again, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum. We're talking about thyroid dysfunction. We just went over the number one cause of thyroid dysfunction, and that's the body's inability to convert the inactive form of thyroid hormone, which is T4, into the active form, which is T3. So you may go into your doctor and they may do your blood test, and you might say, I'm tired, I can't sleep, I am irritable, I have brain fog, my hair is thinning, I'm depressed, I'm retaining fluid, I've got constipation, I have no energy, I'm cold all the time, what's wrong with me? And they go, well, let's test your TSH, your thyroid stimulating hormone. They go, it's fine, it isn't your thyroid. And then they might give you some kind of symptom relief type thing, or not. But if they're not testing, there's about 11 different things we test in the thyroid when we test thyroid function. So if you want to, you can join our Zoom meeting. You can ask about this. I will be posting what we would recommend testing on the Zoom meeting, because there's a lot of different things that need to be tested to find out which of the 3 dysfunctions your body's having. So, now this is a biggie. And this is one of the main things that you want to be aware of, is our bodies have been exposed to more toxins in the world than ever before. We have more toxins in our world than in human history. These toxins, our liver, I mentioned it a minute ago, the liver, it has to know how to detoxify these chemicals in a heartbeat or a nanosecond. So in other words, humans take years and years and years to develop a chemical or a drug to handle a symptom, or a chemical to do something, or a chemical as a byproduct of something in the industry area. That chemical gets into our body like PCBs that are floating on top of the water, or glyphosate that's sprayed liberally on all our food. That stuff is so toxic it would kill us. Yet the liver has to recognize it and figure out how to detox that chemical in a nanosecond, or it will kill us. So the liver is amazing. Your body's amazing. It has an amazing ability to heal itself. All we need to do is free up our body's ability to heal itself and allow it to do the work. Reggie Gold, one of the greatest chiropractors who ever lived, said your body needs no help, it just needs no interference. So at our office, McCollum Family Chiropractic, we work on helping you remove the interference, whether it's nerve system, physical type of injuries, chemistry, biochemistry, and then of course there's the mental, spiritual side, which we don't necessarily delve in, but we can at least get you in the right area if that's something that we can do. Now, I'm not sure that we can help everybody, and we may or may not be able to help you, but if we can't, my promise to you, if I don't think we can help you, we'll get you to the right person or the right people if we can, to find out how you can get help. So just know that. And if you're interested in our Zoom meeting that's going to go in even deeper in this with some solutions, you can actually send your questions in beforehand to info@McCollumWellness.com, and we will address your questions at the Zoom meeting. It will be live, 7 o'clock this coming Wednesday. There's limited availability, so please go to McCollumWellness.com to sign up, or text the word thyroid to 474747. All right, so we're talking about probably the biggest issue with our body's ability to use thyroid hormones. So if you have good thyroid stimulating hormone from the brain to the thyroid, your thyroid's producing T4 like it should, and there's enough in active form. It's getting to the liver, it's getting to the gut, and it's being converted into T3. Then all we need to do is get it in the cell. So if we can get that T3 in the cell, your body makes energy, the cells make energy, and it's a beautiful thing. Every cell in your body has a thyroid hormone on it, or receptor. Every one, except for the red blood cells. That's how important this is. So if your thyroid is not functioning well, if your brain isn't able to recognize what's going on at the pituitary level, because the pituitary gland is the top endocrine gland in your body. There's one above it called the hypothalamus, but this gland is not protected by the blood-brain barrier. What that means is toxins that we get exposed to floating around in our body, in our bloodstream, get expose themselves to the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland absorbs heavy metals, molds, bacteria and viruses act on it. But again, heavy metals like aluminum, lead, which our biggest source of lead exposure is our mother, because it comes down the umbilical blood, and mercury, which is not only our own, but 4 generations down through mom as well. These are all going to disrupt your endocrine function. So right now we're talking about the second area, which is the cell's inability to recognize T3 if your body makes it correctly. So T3, I mentioned earlier, there's antenna on your body on your cells that grab the T3 when it comes. That T3 gets into the cells and does something to produce energy, to create metabolism, to produce life in your body. One of the biggest issues today, and I've mentioned this a minute ago, is toxicity. We have so many toxins in our body. And again, if your liver is toxic, and I mentioned the vacuum cleaner, that the filter isn't cleaned, or the oil filter in your car, or the air filter on your ventilation system in your house, your heater or air conditioner, what ends up happening is you end up spilling over more toxins into your bloodstream, and those toxins pollute the cell wall. Okay, so if you can imagine washing a wall with a bucket of water, and you have a sponge, and you're washing the walls, and the more you wash the walls, the dirtier the water gets from wringing out the sponge. Pretty soon, the water in the bucket is going to be dirtier than the wall itself. So if you continue to put the sponge in there and wipe the walls down, pretty soon you're going to make the walls dirtier. Well, this is what happens when your liver and your large intestine are so inflamed or are toxic that it cannot clean the blood anymore. Your liver is supposed to clean the blood and shunt all of the toxins to the large intestine. The large intestine is supposed to get it out of the body. because of glyphosate, drugs, stress, medications, or environmental toxins. Our large intestines, most of us have something called leaky gut or intestinal permeability. They can't get rid of these toxins, and they get recirculated into our body. So the cell walls get plugged. It's like playing musical chairs. The music stops, but all of the cell receptor sites are plugged up with toxins. Then your body cannot actually function. The cells can't function. They can't take in the T3. So now you have all of the symptoms of having a low thyroid function. You're sick, and your doctor looks at your TSH and says it's normal, or your T4 is normal. It must be in some part of your brain. And it probably is, but not the one they're talking about. So, and if that's the case, then you're going to want to come into our Zoom meeting. Hey, Grant, you want to come into our Zoom meeting this Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. It's free. You go to type Thyroid, and then the phone number is 474747. It will get you to register while we still have spots available. We're going to talk about how to get the toxins out of your cell walls, how to unplug the receptor sites so that you can actually have your cells function again. Your cells are the only life part of your body, and it's so important that they are able to function well. So that is the second main cause of thyroid disorder. So the first one, again, is your body's inability to convert T3 to T4 because the liver is too polluted or the gut is too toxic. And you can take all the T4 thyroid hormone in the world and you can dose it up as you want, or the TSH, and you won't get anywhere. Your blood levels might look good, but you still feel terrible. And if this keeps going on, you're going to cause more and more health conditions in your body, and it can end up not so good for you. So we want to teach you, things that you can do to make sure that you're not consuming foods that are causing your thyroid to downregulate or not function well. One thing that we teach in a lot of our classes is a ketogenic diet or fasting. A lot of people get online and they do a ketogenic diet or a fasting diet without anybody helping them understand when to be into ketosis and when to go out of ketosis, or when to fast or not fast. You do it because it's a fad. Intermittent fasting is the #1 diet in our country right now. But the problem is, if you do that too long, it's going to have a direct effect on insulin, because insulin and sugar go together. Things that cause sugar are any carbohydrate, from French fries to broccoli, and protein, all burn as sugar. The ketogenic diet is predominantly fat. Now here's why we teach diet variation, for this very reason. When you don't eat enough sugar, you're downregulating your insulin. When you downrate your insulin, you downregulate your thyroid hormone. So we need to be able to get into a diet that's going to be high in carbohydrates and fat, so our sugar goes up, and then we want to go down into a more fat-friendly ketogenic diet. But you got to go up and down. That's why we promote something called feast days. In fact, in November, we're going to be going over feast days in our academy. You can join the McCollum Wellness Academy. We have the next 4 months planned out. It's really amazing. We go into this stuff in detail, and you can ask the questions you want. You can get the help you need. So at any rate, we want to make sure that you're getting your cells detoxified. You're not putting more toxins in your body that are causing at the cellular level, your cells basically to not function. When your cells can't function, so many things happen. Your immune system drops, your energy level drops, your mitochondria that are in your cell making energy are not functioning well, and in fact they get toxic, and the byproduct of energy is like exhaust out of your exhaust pipe, gets stuck in the cell because the cell receptors are so plugged up that the cells aren't working well, and then the cells start to die. Now we do want the cells to last a certain time, then die. It's called apoptosis, where they have a programmed cell death. And in the intermittent fasting diet, we promote autophagy, whereas the body breaks down the old cells and makes room for new. But when your body's toxic, and when your gut and liver can't function well, and when the bloodstream can't get clean because your liver's plugged, just like your air filter or your vacuum cleaner filter. You're going to continue to recirculate toxins through your bloodstream. You're going to get swollen. You're going to have lots of discomfort, if not pain, fatigue, brain fog. You feel bloated. You feel like a tick. Everything is inflamed. This is the main cause of disease today. Chronic disease is caused by chronic inflammation. So thyroid dysfunction is potentially one reason that you have chronic inflammation. And if it is, then you've got to get your thyroid functioning well. It's not a medication to regulate your blood work. It's actually you being responsible for your own body. And if this is the case, our job in my office and in McCollum Wellness is to help you learn how to take care of yourself for the rest of your life. I don't want you dependent on me. I want you to come in, learn the tools so that you can move forward. Now, again, this is McCollum Wellness Radio, Saturday, 3 o'clock on KSCO, ksco.com. You can go back and listen to this podcast. Or on KSCO, you can go to McCollum Wellness Radio podcast. It's on all of the podcast mediums. If it makes sense, please share it with people you know. We're working so hard to try to help people be healthy, especially in this time of the pandemic. The stress levels are higher than ever, especially with the fire and people that have been affected, whether you lost a home, which I'm so sorry if you did, if you were displaced, or if this just was a straw that broke the camel's back on your stress level. One of the other major things that causes hormone dysfunction or thyroid dysfunction is stress. And your adrenal glands, and again, if you watch this on my YouTube channel later, which is Dr. Duncan McCollum, you'll know that the adrenal glands, under times of any type of stress, and there's really only 3 types of stress: physical, chemical, and emotional, spiritual. So when you're under the stress that we're experiencing right now, our adrenal glands are pouring out this hormone called cortisol. Cortisol is an inflammatory hormone. And basically, under moments of stress, your adrenal glands take over. They shut down your digestive system, they shut down your cognitive function, and they shut down your immune system to handle the tiger in the room. The way that the fight or flight mechanism works is it shuts everything down, handles the tiger, run, jump, kill it, or do whatever you got to do, and then go back to rest where your parasympathetic nervous system comes back in, which is relaxed, and everything is nice, and you know, every beautiful flowers around you. However, we don't get to appreciate that now under all these moments of stress. What happens, the key to your thyroid, when you're under constant stress and constant cortisol, is your body starts to put out, your adrenal glands put something called reverse T3. Now, reverse T3 looks just like T3, but it's a mirror image of it. Remember I said earlier that T3 is the active form of thyroid. Your brain produces thyroid stimulating hormone, sends it to the thyroid that produces T4, inactive hormone, goes to the gut and liver that turns it into T3, as long as the gut and liver aren't too messed up. T3 gets into the cells as long as the cell receptors aren't plugged. But if you're under stress, your adrenal gland produces, as a result of too much cortisol, reverse T3. Now this reverse T3 is in competition with T3 to get into any receptor sites available on your cells, cell walls. So now it's like playing musical chairs. The music stops. If you've got more reverse T3 in your blood than you have T3, then your cells are going to be filled up with reverse T3, which does not do anything for you. It doesn't act like real thyroid hormone. So it looks like it's like drinking non-alcoholic beer. There's nothing in it alcoholic. So you might as well drink all you want. It's not going to do anything for you. I don't drink, but that's a good scenario there. So that's the second most common cause of thyroid dysfunction, is the cells are blunted. Now this can be caused by predominantly diet or toxins in your environment. And if they're toxins, then you want to come to the Zoom meeting this Wednesday night. We actually have a 90-day program to help you get the toxins out of your cell and the cell wall, out of you, clean up your liver, repair your liver, get any heavy metals we can out of your organs and even out of your brain, so that your endocrine system, which again starts up here with the pituitary gland and goes to the thyroid gland in your neck, and all those hormones that affect thyroid affects every cell in your body. And if we can clean that up, you're going to get healthier, your body's going to begin to work better. So again, if you go to dial 474747 on your cell phone and type in the text bar thyroid, you'll be taken to be able to sign up for the Zoom meeting Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. It's a free meeting. We only have so many seats available, and because I want to be able to answer everybody's questions. And you can also just go to McCollumWellness.com and sign up there. One of the main things that I really want you to understand is that we have so many people asking so many questions. We have created, at the request of my patients, an academy. It's called McCollum Wellness Academy. You can also find that on McCollumWellness.com, whether you go to the 474747 number or just go to McCollum Wellness and sign up for the academy. By doing that, you will immediately get enrolled in our 7-week intermittent fasting ketogenic diet course. That course is an amazing, put together by Dr. Dan Pompa on the principles of Dr. Yoshinori Asumi, who's a new 2016 Nobel Prize winner, Dr. Walter Longo, who is being funded by National Institute of Health for his work on autophagy and stem cell production. You're going to get so much information by going to the academy. I really hope you do. I'd love to see you there. We have November, we're going to work on teaching you how to have a feast day healthily. Now, we all have a feast day in November called Thanksgiving. You don't have to feel guilty. You want to prepare yourself ahead of time for Thanksgiving. Learn to eat some healthy foods. You can do just some of the same stuff. You tweak it a little bit, and you won't be causing your body to become more inflamed. And then the week after Thanksgiving, we want you to learn how to eat the right kind of foods to help your gut become healthier, detoxify some of the overdosing that you've done. And then we're moving right into the other holidays, and we're going to help you maintain through the holidays and get to that January 1st where everybody sets a resolution and breaks them by January 7th. So mid-January, we're going to have a 21-day challenge for anybody in the academy. And that's going to help you reboot your body, get your body knowing how to burn ketones, knowing how to move in and out of ketosis. Again, I mentioned earlier, you don't want to stay on a ketogenic diet all the time. It downregulates your insulin, which downregulates your thyroid function. So you need to learn how to move in and out of that. And that's the key to learning how to get yourself healthy. The key to that is to actually understand how diet affects your health. Another key is healing the gut, healing your liver, healing your kidneys, making sure that you're not continuing to do things to recreate the problem in the future. So part of this is getting your body well now, which we're going to work through the first of the year. Then the 21-day challenge is going to be a way for you to start 2021 right. You know, we all had great dreams for 2020. And, it is what it is, but tomorrow is a brand new day, all right? And we can always do something different tomorrow to make ourselves healthier. Okay, so we're up against our next break. For those of you that are listening right now on Facebook, that's great. I appreciate you being on there. This show will play on my radio show 3 o'clock Saturday, KSEO 1080 AM, KSEO.com, 104.1 FM, and it will be rebroadcast on my podcast, McCollum Wellness Radio, that you can just sign up for and become and register for or subscribe to. I'd love it. My YouTube channel has over 170 videos going over all kinds of great stuff. It's Dr. Duncan McCollum. Please subscribe to that, subscribe to it, and let's see what we can do. So we're going to take a short break. We'll be back in just a couple minutes for all you KSEO listeners. All right, just so you know, all of you out there listening now, we're talking about my stem cell machine, my TRT machine. It's called a tissue regenerative therapy machine. There's a $49 special. If you got any kind of shoulder, chronic shoulder, low back, knee, ankle, elbow, hand, any kind of those conditions, the stem cell machine is amazing. You can go to trtllc.com and look into it, trtlimitedliabilitycorporation.com, or you can go to McCollum Family Chiropractic and just sign up for the $49 special. Worst thing that happens is you'll be the same. I highly recommend it. It fixed my shoulder after years and years and years of problems. So the TRT machine, the tissue regenerative therapy machine, there's only less than 150 in the country. I have one of them, less than 600 in the world. I have one of them. I have the 403. So come experience the number 403, and I think you'll like it. Okay, we're back. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum. We're on the homeward stretch. This is KSCO Radio, Dr. Duncan. This is McCollumWellnessRadio.com every Saturday at 3 o'clock, and you can re-listen to it on McCollum Wellness Radio podcast. We're talking about thyroid dysfunction and the three major causes. So far, we've talked about your body's inability to use the hormones, inability to take the inactive hormone T4 and convert it to T3, the active one, because of liver problems, liver congestion or gut congestion. And the medical doctors often test TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone. That's the only one they test. They go, it's normal. If it's low, they give you some. If it's high, they do something else. But you still feel bad. You still have all the conditions, all the symptoms of feeling thyroid problems, like lack of energy, weight gain, or inability to lose weight, feeling cold all the time, irritability, brain fog, which is a biggie, insatiable eating, you're always hungry, thinning hair is a big one, heart rate that's beating, depression or anxiety, fluid retention, bloating, skin dry skin. All of these things, achy joints, can be related to thyroid dysfunction. So we talked about, again, the thyroid not being able to convert T3 to T4 to T3, which takes place in your liver and gut. Every cell in your body needs thyroid or T3 hormone. The second one is that the cells are actually so polluted and toxic that they can't see the hormone. They can't take it into the receptor sites. This is usually caused by many things. Number one is eating bad oils like canola oil, vegetable oil, rancid oils. We're going to go into what kind of oils you should be eating on our Zoom meeting, and that's going to be this Wednesday, 3 o'clock, and you can find that Zoom meeting and sign up for free by texting thyroid to 474747, and I really hope that you do. I'd love to have you there. And so the cell walls are either toxic by toxins in our environment that the liver and kidney can't get rid of. The blood continues to splash toxins on the cells. And just like if you ever had poison oak on your face and it makes your eyes swollen shut, the cells are swollen shut. They can't see the hormones. They're irritable, they're itchy, and you just don't feel good. Well, that is a sign of toxicity of your cells or bad oils in your cells, and that you need to learn how to fix that. Now, the biggest diagnosis of thyroid dysfunction is Hashimoto's disease, Hashimoto's thyroiditis. Over 15 million people in the United States have been diagnosed with that. There's 30 million people diagnosed with thyroid dysfunction. Remember the word diagnosed, which means there's probably another twice that many that haven't been diagnosed because they don't go to the doctor or they've been misdiagnosed. But Hashimoto's is a autoimmune disease. What does autoimmune mean? It means your body's fighting itself. Autoimmune means auto, self, immune, your immune system. There's so many different type of autoimmunes, and they usually have the word of the organ that they're fighting against. In this case, autoimmune thyroiditis means that your immune system is fighting your own thyroid gland. So this is not a good thing. And there's a lot of reasons that autoimmune occurs. There's a lot of stuff that testing that you need to do to find out about it. And number one is you need to have the right testing done. If you've only had thyroid stimulating hormone tested in your blood, or TSH, or maybe T4, maybe T3, very rarely do people come in with reverse T3 tests done, or they look for antibodies to the thyroid. So when you have an autoimmune thyroid or Hashimoto's, your body is producing its antibodies to fight off your own thyroid. And there's a couple of them. There's that anti-thyroidoxine hormone or antibody. And these things are an indication that your body's fighting itself. So it doesn't matter how many drugs you give it. It doesn't matter what you do, if your body's fighting itself, you know, you're sunk unless you heal the body and clean up the body. So there's something, you know, the best physician on the planet that's ever lived in all these times is the physician that lives inside of you. Your body has its own ability to heal itself. B.J. Palmer, one of the founders or developer of chiropractic, said your body, your body knows what to do. It has an innate intelligence to heal itself. Dr. Reggie Gold said the body needs no help, it just needs no interference. Hypothyroidism, or excuse me, if you're talking about Hashimoto thyroiditis, is confusion. Your body's got confusion going on. It shouldn't be attacking itself. Why is it doing that? Well, information going from your body to your brain isn't getting to the brain correctly. Information from the brain down to your body is not getting there correctly. We have our brain in our head, and then the nerves that go through the center of our spine, and then we have what are called efferent and afferent nerves. So efferent, 90% of all communication goes from your body and its perception of the environment to your brain. It's not going down, it's going up 90% of the time. Those signals are going up to your brain, and then it's telling your endocrine system, which is that hypothalamus pituitary. The pituitary tells your thyroid what to do, as well as your other glands. So often the communication is bad, and then because the blood-brain barrier does not protect your endocrine system, your blood-brain barrier, the hypothalamus and pituitary sit outside of that. So the blood-brain barrier is supposed to protect your brain from toxins, from heavy metals, from biochemicals, from some things made in the industry that should never have been made, and our bodies, when they were conceived of so many millions of years ago, never knew that they had to deal with these. The blood-brain barrier is supposed to protect us from that stuff that was developed the same time our bodies were. There's so many things that have been created that go right through the blood-brain barrier that it's scary. But also remember, the hypothalamus and pituitary are outside of your blood-brain barrier. So the Hashimoto's disease has to do with your body fighting your own thyroid gland. This has to do with toxicity in your body at a cellular level. It has toxicity at an organ level, toxicity at a brain level. And this is some work that you can actually do. You can actually help your body recover from this. But if you're only covering up the symptoms with a medication or some kind of herb, you're going to you're never going to get there. So if you have a boat that's got a hole in it, and you're floating upriver and you see water coming in your boat, you can bail it out with a tin can, and you can continue to bail that boat with a tin can. That would be like a medication, a drug, a pharmaceutical, a biologic, handling the symptoms of a leaky boat. You're bailing the water out. Some people go, I'm tired of taking these medications. I don't want to take them anymore. I'm going to go take an herb. So the next thing you know, rather than using a tin can to bail your boat out, you're actually using a gourd, a nature-grown gourd, and you're bailing the boat out with a gourd. That's like taking herbs or supplements to handle the symptoms of that leaky boat. So you can see that whether you're taking herbs or drugs to handle your symptom, you're never going to handle the problem till you go what we call upstream to the actual cause of the problem. And in this case, it's a leaky boat. Plug the hole. Okay? In your body, it's the same thing. If you're constantly taking medications to handle the symptoms, and pretty soon you're adding more and more and more medications. We know the average 50-year-old has been on 17 different medications in their lifetime. And they're usually on 4 on a chronic basis at that level. Now, I've never taken any of those drugs, so I'm definitely not privy to them. I don't take any medications. I'm 64 years old. My body functions incredibly well. However, it's taken a lot of work to get me there. I learned about the ketogenic diet with Dr. Dan Pompa 3.5 years ago. It was the #1 diet that year. We actually have put hundreds of people through it. And I particularly went from 206 pounds that I'd been at for years to 176, which is my high school weight. I've been at 176 for the past 2.5, 3 years. I enjoy doing what I want to do. I eat healthy foods. I do enjoy good snacks now and then, but they're healthy. I cheat every once in a while. But we come from a lifestyle where we could eat what we want, when we want, with whoever we want, as much as we want, wherever we want. Because of the Industrial Revolution after World War II, our food has gotten devoid of vitamins and minerals and filled up with fillers that are toxic. So our bodies become weaker and weaker and weaker to a point where 81 million Americans have comorbidities, according to Michigan State University. So comorbidities means that you have more than one, and multiple means 3 or more dysfunctions in your body or disease processes in your body. So, you know, and the hypothyroidism or thyroid dysfunction may be one of them. When your thyroid's not functioning, everything's going to break down. You know, pretty soon you're not going to be able to know where your balance is. Your feet are not going to communicate well to you. Your energy is going to go bad and your brain's going to start to go bad. You're going to start to create all kinds of dysfunctions. Now, one thing that's going on at a cellular level, remember thyroid hormone works on every cell in the body, except for red blood cells. When your cells can't take in a thyroid hormone, they can't take in estrogen, they can't take in progesterone or testosterone or insulin either. So any hormones that are, then they all act on the life part of your body, which is the cell. If your thyroid isn't functioning, none of those other hormones are getting in. So you go to the doctor, you're on thyroid hormone, you're on estrogen and progesterone, testosterone, maybe you're on insulin. How many more drugs are you going to take to try to force a hormone into that cell, okay? Or a substance into that cell? You can do that, or you can do the other thing, just make the cells work better. That's the upstream cause. Plug the hole in the boat, fix the cell. Fix the cell to get well is Dr. Pompa's cry, and that's what we do at our office. You're going to learn about this at the Zoom meeting this coming Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and I highly recommend you do it. It's free. I'm going to answer all your questions. You can send them in ahead of time to info@mccollumwellness.com. Get on the Zoom meeting. Go to types 474747 on your cell phone as the phone number, and in the text line put thyroid. You'll be taken to my website, which is mccollumwellness.com. Sign up for the class on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock, the Zoom meeting. Type in your questions, get on the Zoom meeting, type them in there. I will be giving you as much information as I can. I will be inviting you into my Wellness Academy. Maybe you go, if this is what this is about, I'm going to join the Academy right now, McCollum Wellness Academy. And you know, we've got so many great things coming up in November, December, January in the Academy. We answer these questions in the Academy. We put out great challenges. As soon as I get information, it's out to the Academy group. But for you all out there in the world, I want you to know that there are places that you can get solutions, you can get answers. I really appreciate KSCO for allowing me to be here. And I just want to kind of recap what we've gone over. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum, McCollum Wellness Radio. Please go to McCollum Wellness Radio podcast and send it to your friends. Join up yourself. Go to Dr. Duncan McCollum YouTube channel and subscribe. So there's over 170 videos on there. We have this going out on Facebook. We have a private Facebook group for those in the Academy. You can get your questions answered there if you'd like. And we're up against the clock. Dr. Duncan McCollum, I really appreciate you listening and being there. And tune in next week and tune in this Wednesday, McCollum Wellness Academy. Sign up for our Zoom meeting. We'll see you all then. Okay, everybody out there on Facebook, thanks for listening. Please share this. Tell everybody that you can to get onto the website, onto McCollum Wellness Radio, to join McCollumWellness.com, McCollum Wellness Academy. And, you know, I'm just so full of so much stuff I want to share with you guys. We'll see you all later. Bye.